So this, while it's not something that comes as a great surprise, because I came to check this spot very much on purpose, is a very lovely thing to see, because I've been checking for a while this season and haven't seen them yet. I'm going to show you their main ID features, which can't be seen from the top. So when we're looking at fungi like this that are growing, there we go, that are growing on wood, so this is growing on a stump, and have kind of orangey bell-shaped tops, we have to be quite careful, because the concern is that we're going to mistake these for Gallerina Marginata, which it's going to be awkward. I'm going to sit on the forest floor in the spikes to show you. So I'm going to put these on my trousers, because that seems to be our best bet when I'm filming, to get all of the features focused. So what we don't want to mistake these for is Gallerina Marginata, which are known as funeral bells, and are as unpalatable and non-edible as that sounds. But I've got a really good little list of features that I can show you, and these are in lovely condition, so it should be a really nice, easy ID video, so that you can start to become more comfortable with the idea of eating these. Now, I wouldn't call these a beginner's mushroom. They took me quite a while to eat, actually, and I remember when I was first eating them, posting them to other mycologist friends, going, I know, but can you just check? Because the idea of eating a load of Gallerina is just like that. And I think even with all of these videos I make, there's still an element of having been brought up in a culture where we are told that we mustn't touch mushrooms and they're scary and they're dangerous. So it is one that you have to be confident and comfortable and trust your own abilities to ID. Once you get to that point, though, we can go through a list of features, and it really is, in most cases, they're quite distinctive. So these are Queronomyces Mutabilis, also in some books as two-toned foliota. They used to be foliota, they're not anymore. Also known as sheathed woodtuft. Now, woodtuft refers to how they grow, so they're very much kind of tufted and clustered, growing on wood. And sheathed is this lovely booted stipe. Now, when we talk about booted, it's a bit of a strange word, but it means, imagine like Puss in Boots, those kind of turned over at the top boots. I always think it looks a bit like a sock or a stocking that's been turned over at the top. What it means is that this whole section looks like a separate thing that's been pulled up over the stipe. So when these get a bit older, there's a little bit more space between the top of the booted part, so the annulus, the ring there, and the gills. That space gets a little bit bigger as they grow. But it really does look like a sock or something that's been pulled up, and the textures are distinctly different. So the texture of the actual stipe, the part right up at the top there, is quite smooth. And the texture of, I don't know how well you can see it, but I'm going to try. There we go. The texture of the stipe underneath the ring, where it's the layer that's on top there, is really quite scaly. And that scaly look underneath the ring only is one of the main easy to remember and to look for ID points of Queronomyces. The two-toned foliota, the other common name I was telling you, is because they also have a tendency to do this. They're hygrophanous, which means they change colour as they dry, but a lot of things change colour and get paler from the edge in. These get paler from the middle out, which is quite unusual, but I have seen pictures of Gallerina doing the same. So it's not, on its own, that's not good enough to ID these. But it's likely, so if you see it from a distance, it means it's worth going and checking the other ID features. And this scaly booted, like a sock over the top of the stipe with a ring at the top, that's a really good ID feature. The gills I think look different from Gallerina. I find it hard to articulate how and why, but do take a good look in your books at the descriptions and of the pictures of as many examples as you can of Gallerina Marginata versus Queronomyces Mutabilis, because I do think that there is just a look about them that is different. The colour's slightly different. These are kind of more buff tan, I think, less orangey. It's just hard to articulate because they are extremely close. The other thing that for me is a big indicator does depend on you having a bit of a nose and being relatively used to, sorry, I'm doing it rather than showing you, being a little bit used to identifying fungi, is the smell. And the smell is something that I would say you need to have smelt these and smelt Gallerina Marginata, preferably on the same day and next to each other, because they are really different. But until you're used to identifying fungi by smell, I think it can be quite difficult on courses and things when I'm teaching. I often hand someone something that I think is a really distinctive smell, and they'll say, oh, it smells just like mushroom. So again, it's not necessarily a beginner's identification feature. But once you've smelt the two, it's really distinctive. So Gallerina Marginata, I think, smells a little bit unpleasant, a little bit mealy, a little bit musty, just not very nice. These smell to me somewhere in the region of kind of almost slightly bluety, almost like a little bit perfumed, or they're sweet and they're quite aromatic, and I just think a really beautiful smell. And for me, that plus the sheathed stipe, the booted stipe, plus the hygrophanous from the inside out on top, is a nice kind of trifecta of features if you want to have a little checklist for when you find these. So Gallerina Marginata does have a little annulus, a little ring, but when it gets older, it has a tendency to disappear, I think. And it also is just a completely different texture, particularly noticeable underneath the ring. It's kind of whitish fibrillose, kind of fibery looking up and down, and doesn't have scales like this. So yeah, as and when I find them this season, I will make a Gallerina Marginata video as well. I have a couple of spots that I can go to and keep checking. But hopefully that is enough features that you'll at least start trying to identify these when you find them, even if you're not quite confident straight away to eat them. And I am very excited because while I'm not going to go straight in and eat these today, because they're tiny little ones, I reckon in a couple of days they'll be worthwhile eating, and I think they're quite a treat actually. And this whole stump, even over the other side over there, is covered in them, so I'm thrilled. If you're enjoying the videos, I'm going to drop my Buy Me a Coffee link in the description. It's just a way that you can contribute if you think that the content that I'm making for free is helpful to you and worthwhile and useful. I don't make any money from this at the moment. I don't advertise through the YouTube channel and things. If you're local to me in Sussex, I am running fungi walks at the moment still, and we have spaces on the next couple. I think I'm planning to do a fun night walk for Halloween as well. So we're going to bring a UV torch and hunt mushrooms by torchlight. Do a little spooky night time. And yeah, I think that's all the information you need. Do find me on Facebook. I'm on various groups, but always Ashdown Forage and Broth and Butter. And enjoy your foraging. It really is all out and doing its thing at the moment.